I'm Daniel, and I'm a rising junior at Gunn High School. And for my starter project, I decided to do the Mini POV, which is a device that prints out each column of an image, and if you wave it in front of a camera taking a picture with long exposure, it should print out an image. Next, I worked on my main project, which is the 3-jointed robotic arm, which is a robotic arm that's controlled by multiple servos, and it can move objects from point to point. So how it works is that I can type in W, A, S, or D into my computer to control it. So if I type in W, it will move my arm up, and S down, and A to my left, and D to my right. And if I use this, I can actually try picking something up. So if I type in O, it also opens up my claw, and I'm just gonna think of this. And I can type O to close it again, and I can now move it across. And then I can just drop it off. Okay, so how my arm works is that there's an Arduino, which is basically a microcontroller that controls all the parts in your arm that need to be controlled. So for me, those are these servos, and basically what a servo is that it's like a motor, and it just rotates things. So it's basically what I use to actually move my arm. Also, I have a battery, because normally people would use a Arduino to power their circuit, but because I am actually using like 4 servos to actually move everything, it's too much for my Arduino to actually handle, and I have to have an additional power source. So one of my main challenges was actually getting my arm to move the way I wanted to. So how it was originally like is that I was telling each servo to move a certain degree, but like if you're like trying to like move to a specific point, that's like really challenging to do, because you have to just like either memorize which each servo is correlated to and you just move it in a specific way. And instead what I wanted to do was that I would give my arm a specific point that I wanted to be at, and I have to somehow translate that point to the angle that I want my servo to be angled towards. And that was really challenging because it required a bunch of trigonometry and lots of like really complex equations that I really didn't know how to like isolate variables that well with it, but I managed to actually do it. Another challenge that I had was actually in my code there was this bug that was really hard for me to debug, because it was this thing where if you store a really large number in the data type int, it will do this thing called like overflow, where it will give you a negative number, a really large negative number, and it's just really confusing to like someone who really doesn't actually know what's happening. So it took me a while for me to debug it, because I'm like, why am I getting a negative number? It's like really bad. But I managed to figure it out, and how I fixed it is I just changed the data type int to the data type long, which is able to store larger numbers. In the future, I'm planning on adding a camera so that I can actually recognize a specific object. So using image recognition, I could like identify a specific type of object, like I don't know, a pencil or you see tape dispenser, and I can move that to a specific part, making it more autonomous. My overall experience at Bootcamp has been really fun and rewarding, especially because I've worked on projects, but most of the projects were like in teams, and this is the first time I really ever got to actually design, build, and code everything from scratch. And I've also made a lot of friends and a lot of new experiences. Thank you.
So your programming is in C?
Well, there's like an Arduino IDE. I'm pretty sure it's C++.
Yeah. So how did come you end up getting a negative number for cos matters?
I mean, I learned this in like CS, like in my CS class. They like had where you like, if you give like a really really large number, like since integer, like if you're, I don't know if you're a CS person or if you know much about this, but like, okay, but no, it's like sorry, but okay, but like, so the data type integer can only store like certain size of information. So like, I can't store really really large numbers, or else like it just doesn't work, and it instead like returns like a negative number because like it's really, it's kind of hard to explain, but like it just like returns a negative number. And yeah, that's all.
So yeah, so besides like flipping the sign bit, which got you your negative numbers, did I hear it right that there's an actual use for radians? Is that what I kind of got away from all this? Like in trigonometry, were you doing like an angle and a projection, and that's how you were calculating it, or like what were the actual? What was some of that? Like you're talking about some of the math and isolating variables, and that's not necessarily trivial math. So what was some?
Oh, okay. So like, so basically, so I was using like how I calculated. So I was like controlling this specific point in my arm. And so I just used like vector addition to like derive that like formula. But the thing that was really challenging is because like there were like there's like x and y, and also like the like equations like got really big, and it was just like it's just like if I could show you like how like it's like if I like plugged in like everything.
It's like a horror movie for a person who doesn't like math.